I love Cambodian kids. Like, that sounds horrible. Hey guys, welcome back to the video. Welcome back to the channel. So we are officially in Cambodia. This is day one. Can we say day one? I don't know. Yesterday we got here. We walked like 10 kilometers in a farmville and then took a van here and then passed out. So yeah, you know what? This is day one. Yesterday was day zero. But we are here and I'm liking it, man. I'm by the river area, so we're gonna check out kind of out here, kind of show you around a little bit, man. I'm liking it. And I want to talk about a few things. I realized something because I keep track of all my finances. We've been to Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And there's something I noticed that honestly surprised me, and I think it'll surprise you guys too. Let's take a little walk, check out the sites. One thing I do, you know, some being in finance and business, is I keep track of money. So if I have $100, I know exactly where everything's going. I've noticed one thing. Cambodia is not that expensive. And the reason I bring this up is I've been hearing a lot of people complain like, Cambodia is hell of expensive, blah, blah, I'd rather stay in Vietnam and stuff like that. And I started to realize something. The most expensive spot we have been so far is Vietnam. It has been the most expensive, money-intensive, demanding place that we've been to. I started thinking about that though, because living in Vietnam is actually really cheap. You're gonna see videos all over the place talking about how Vietnam's the cheapest spot in Asia, pretty much the world, and that is true. A lot of these people that say Cambodia, Thailand, Laos are just not as cheap as Vietnam are not really comparing apples to oranges. So you live in Vietnam, but you visit another country. Being a tourist in any country is actually pretty expensive. Myself, traveling around for the last like 3 months, hotel to hotel, Airbnb to Airbnb, yada, yada, yada. When you're living in a country, it's gonna be cheaper. When I lived in Vietnam, I can live in Vietnam on $300 or $400 a month. Here's the crazy thing. When I was backpacking through Vietnam for like the month that we were out there, I think I spent on average like a couple $100, $300-400 like a week. Seriously, so I was getting into that like teacher salary money spending. I don't live there. I'm not paying rent. I'm paying fees. You see what I'm saying? Since I've traveled through Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, you know, obviously I've only been in Cambodia for a little bit, but I've talked to a few people to kind of clarify before I did this whole rant, is Vietnam is one of the more expensive spots to go. Kind of just walking around. I got lost, what can I say? But look at this, man. It's actually really cool. And they're building a bunch of them too. Like if you see over here, way in the distance, there's one in construction. They have one back here, there it is, like right in front of us in construction. And in front of us, it looks like they're just kind of fixing it, I guess. And it's not like that gold look, like you see in Thailand, it's like almost, it's a gold color, right? Like here, it's more of a yellowish. It's like an off gold, but it works. Elefante. These tuk-tuk drivers are f***ing ruthless, bro. But you know, like a tip for you guys, again, Grab works wonders. They have Grab tuk-tuks in here, which is really cool. So every corner you hit, something wild just kind of pops out in front of you. So we're gonna try to cross. You know, I get it's a tourist area, but fuck, it is so clean here. You're gonna hear this redundancy in Cambodia like you heard in Thailand. But you know, I gave you guys a break, man. Like we were in Thailand, it was cool, we chilled, we kicked, we had fun. You heard about how clean everything is. And then we got to Vietnam, you didn't have to hear it no more because it's not clean at all, Vietnam. And then we're in Cambodia again, it's kind of like, hey, you get to hear that rant again. And I'm guessing like a downtown area or something. There's definitely a lot of Chinese stuff out here. Like, and I get, like, if you look at the GDPs and where the money comes from and yada, 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 the bridge program, Cambodia has been a big, how do I say it without getting in trouble with YouTube? They've been a big V in this whole situation. You figure out what the word V means, it's not vagina. I will say, so we were talking earlier about how Cambodia is, like Vietnam's more expensive. I will say Vietnam is probably the cheapest country in Southeast Asia when it comes to transportation. I took a 75-kilometer motorbike ride to the border from Saigon, and it was like $10. It was like $12, but I gave the guy like a $10 tip. But if I try to pull that off anywhere else in Southeast Asia, I'd have to bring out the American Express at that point. It would get expensive. Transportation in Cambodia is actually, it's pretty expensive. It seems like what is this about? I mean, if that's there, that means the government was involved, right? I see some writing. Let's go check it out. All right, so we made it in here. This is actually interesting. It's in Cambodian, it's in Vietnamese and English. The Cambodian-Vietnam Friendship Monument was built as a testament to gratitude for the memory and sacrifice of Cambodian people in the cause of Vietnam's territorial unification during the 60s and 70s and the sacrifice of the Vietnamese army and the liberation of Cambodia people from the genocidal regime of Democratic chemical in the 1970s and 80s. Oh, so this had nothing to do with Vietnam War. This is actually Vietnam helping Cambodia get out of genocide and like a government takeover. Really? Let me know in the comments below. I gotta actually look that up. I hear people, I talk to Cambodians, a lot of them don't like Vietnamese, but also they don't like the modern Vietnamese, you know, like the loud. Those are the type of like attacks I hear about. That seriously surprises me. Assume if a Cambodian saw a Vietnamese, you just stab in the toe, like immediately, no question. You know, and something else I noticed, since we're on the subject of nothing, I've noticed the Western people dating Cambodian people out here, the age gap is like almost none. You know, like you see a huge gap in Vietnam. You see almost a bigger gap in Thailand. Maybe it's just the city I'm in, I don't know. But like even this couple back here that walked past me, one of them, the girl's Cambodian, like they look like they were within the same like 5-year bracket, you know? And I've seen that a lot. There was another couple, I guess they were married. He was married here, he had 2 kids with a Cambodian girl, like they were in the same bracket. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the wrong spot. Look how clean this is. I get it's a tourist area, but this is immaculate. And I haven't seen anybody just like chucking bottles everywhere.